Oil prices are rising again. And whenever that happens, one uncomfortable question always returns. Is inflation really under control or just taking a pause? Because oil does not just affect the markets, it affects everything: transport, manufacturing, food prices, and eventually the interest rate. So let's slow this down and understand what this move actually means. First, this is not a random spike. Oil has started moving up as a global supply tightens and geopolitical risk resurface. At the same time, demand has not collapsed the way markets have expected it. Now, that combination is dangerous because inflation does not need a shock to come back, it only needs pressure. Now, here is the key thing most people misunderstand: inflation does not return all at once, it creeps back through input cost. Oil is the first domino. So, when oil rises, companies don't raise the prices immediately, they absorb the cost for a while, but eventually those costs pass through. Now, that is when inflation data surprises everyone. Now, connect this to markets. If oil keeps rising, central banks lose the flexibility. Rate cuts get delayed. Liquidity expectations gets pushed up. And markets hate the delays more than bad. This is especially important for India. India imports most of its oil. Now, that means higher oil prices directly impact the inflation expectations, fiscal math, and currency stability. So even if the growth remains strong, higher oil puts pressure on margins and policy decisions. Now, this does not mean markets are about to crash. It means risk is becoming asymmetric. Upside becomes slower, downside becomes sharper. And that is exactly when smart investors stop chasing and start observing. So, what should you do? Firstly, you should not panic. Secondly, you should not ignore macro signals just because the indices look fine. Thirdly, understand the inflation is a cycle and it is not a straight line. So, oil rising does not guarantee inflation spikes, but ignoring oil almost always ends badly. Markets move on expectations, not confirmation. And right now, oil is quietly challenging the idea that inflation is finished. If you want calm, logic driven explanations of global and Indian markets without hype, fear, or noise, subscribe to this channel because the smartest investors prepare before the pressure becomes obvious. Thank you.